Swift drives in, and
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Hezzy Pullup Basketball. You already know what the deal is. We got the Hezzy, the Pullup, shot fake.
My point guard 3 Hezzy. I'm like, damn.
You make that shot. That's what we do. We shot fake. We get people out the way. We talk basketball. I always have basketball geniuses on my show, or at least people who say they know basketball. You know what I mean? I get them on. We talk basketball. There's a lot to talk about. First, I want to just thank you all for following Hezzy Pullup Basketball, listening to the episodes.
You the real
of course,
MVP.
just getting better content, better things on the show. So definitely continue to support. Follow Hezzy Pullup on SoundCloud, on YouTube. We have different platforms we're going to get on, so continue to support. Thank you for listening up to this point, and I definitely look for better things as we try to get better content, better quality, better all that stuff. So thank you once again for your support. And you already know who I am. I'm Martin Beasley, the point guard. Hitting people with the sham god. You know what I mean? I run in the show here, but I always have wings. 3-and-D killer scorers out here as my guest on. And my wings for this episode, I'm going to introduce them. First, we're going to start with my boy Neil. I knew him since we were like 5 years old. I got Neil Ezem on, a real guy, great guy who knows sports. Hey, Neil, how you doing, man?
Good, I'm good. Appreciate the invite to be on the episode.
Bet. Thanks to have you on, Neil. Very grateful. Then, of course, I have my man, Jack J-Rock. You might know him as the drummer that you see on social media, but this dude knows basketball too. Like, he can give it to you the same way he gives it to the snares. I got Jack on. Jack, how you feeling, bro?
Feeling good, man. Thank you for having me, bro. This is my first, podcast, so like it's good. It's good to be here.
Bet. Well, I always have arguments with Jack on Instagram DMs, and Jack be knowing his stuff, so it's good to have you on, Jack. Then, of course, got to introduce it to Jerod, the trumpet, Jerod King Franklin. Me and him talk basketball a lot. We're actually in a basketball league right now, a fantasy league with each other, and Jerod and I always talking hoops and a whole slew of other things. So, Jerod, how you feeling, man? Thanks for coming on, bro.
Hey, man, my pleasure.
All right, and I normally have our guests, tell us any projects or anything that they're working on. I had that in the second episode, the longer episode. For this one, we're just going to dive right in. Man, a lot of things have been happening in the NBA. We just had the Christmas games. If you're listening to this, we just had the Christmas games. So that's what we're talking about right now. Christmas games were very interesting. Man, the Nets were destroying people. Kyrie was going off. Kevin Durant was going off. I don't know about everyone else on the team, but everyone else was doing all right, but they were cooking. They destroyed the Warriors. They destroyed the Celtics. So we're going to just talk about our Christmas game ideas. But first, I wanted to ask, this is open to anybody. What do you guys think about the New Jersey Nets? Like, are they just unguardable right now? What's your takes on the Nets right now?
Yeah, the Nets are going to be a problem. As long as they stay healthy. I know I'm a little bit ahead of myself, but that is my pick to come out of the East. That team was already pretty deep, before Kyrie and Kevin got over there. So, they just added to what they already had. So they were a tough out already. Good luck to anybody in the East. Sorry, Celtics.
Question, Neil. You already had them coming out the East. So you already think that they're better than you thought starting off the season that they were better than the Bucks and the Heat?
Yes.
Why? I was gonna say yes so easily, like yes.
It's already you have arguably a top 2 player in Kevin Durant on that team, added with Kyrie. They already had Spencer Dinwiddie. Pieces like Jared Allen. That's Jared Allen, right? Did I get his name?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they have an embarrassment of riches. I think people underestimate what they have, but now they're starting to see them, take out some of these teams that were expected to make a run, like the Celtics. That just I think we'll see more of it. It's still early, but I put faith in Kevin Durant over anybody else in the East.
Yeah, sure. Hey, Jack, what's your thoughts on the Nets?
Man, so those that know me, like I've been saying this before the bubble. I agree with Neil. Like the Nets, I got them coming out of the East and going to the finals this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also believe in Kevin Durant. He's my favorite player. Like the Nets, they were already great. Like they were already a really good team, and they made the playoffs last year. They got depth, and all they had to do was add two offensive juggernauts that can create their own shots and are unguardable. Like you can't stop that. And KD right now, he's just getting his feet wet. As the season progresses, it's still early. He's gonna get back into the form that we all know that he is, KD. So yeah, I got the Nets.
Man, I wish I asked y'all this question before the season started. I feel like everyone just saw the Nets whoop the Celtics like, hey, yo, Nets going to the finals.
Nah, I had them like since last season. I was saying it like all I care about is this season, 2021. That's going all the way.
I bet. Jerod, I know you got a different take, man. Jerod, what do you think about the Nets?
I think that no, I'm just kidding. I think the Nets really do have they have a shot. It's hard to say for me to say they coming out the East just simply because we 2 games in for them and they're playing their third. Like, there's no way to be able to determine who's going to get there. I think that they have the best shot because there's no tape on them for real, and they're going to look good early because there's no tape on them. And Kyrie and Kevin Durant going to look good early because they fresh, as opposed to a lot of guys who played, in the bubble. Now, obviously, the 2 teams they played before Christmas and after Christmas weren't in the bubble, but all in all, like these guys, they're figuring it out, and other teams are figuring them out in terms of what they want to get. Now, don't get me wrong. There's nobody on the planet Earth that can stop Kevin Durant within the rules of basketball. You got to like play football and let Kevin Durant play basketball at basketball.
Exactly.
But I don't know. I feel like I definitely don't think that Milwaukee has a shot in the playoffs because they don't have good playoff coaching, number one. So that really leaves like Miami. And then maybe if Philly gets it together, maybe Philly it can knock them off in the playoffs. But that remains to be seen if Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons can stay healthy enough to make a run at the playoffs again, and they can have the right mindset. Maybe Doc Rivers is the catalyst for that. But
yeah.
I mean, I guess they are the front runners. Unfortunately, I don't want to say that it's them, but I mean, who else will it be? I mean, we all know what's going to happen to the Bucks when they get to the playoffs. And Budenholzer should have been fired last year, in my opinion. But we ain't talking about them.
That's an interesting take. I feel like Stephen A. Smith might agree with you. It's funny your take on KD because I was talking to someone the other day too. I was like, I think the only 2 people in the universe who could guard Kevin Durant is Jesus and Satan. I don't think any human being can guard him. Like people are like, oh, LeBron. I was like, LeBron does. It's not. There's no shame in saying you cannot guard Kevin Durant. This guy's unguardable.
But I don't think people know how cold KD is. That's why, like exactly. they really forget about that. I mean, he's like the best, or like he's a superstar, but he almost is under the guise of a 2. Like you would think he's the second on the team, but he's the best player wherever he goes. You know
exactly.
what I mean? He's just not like he's not a outspoken person. He just wants to hoop, like he said. So that's why his game kind of gets underrated. But no
I agree with you. KD's like the dude, you're playing street ball and you got like a point guard or whoever who's running their mouth. You're like, yo, I don't like this guy, and he's like running his mouth. And then there's a calm dude on the side dropping 30, and he don't talk. You don't even realize we're losing because of him. And at the end of the game, you're like, Slim, how many you have? He's like 45. That's who KD is. He's a dude who don't talk much. But he got 45 points.
Yeah, but Kevin Durant, like every time I look at the box score, when I look at him play, it's like, wait, he only took 15 shots and he had almost 30? Wait.
It's crazy.
He took 4 threes and he hit 3 of them?
Yeah, like, it's crazy.
It's like, and when you watch him play, it's just that when he takes his shots, he's better than 50% from the field and he's shooting from the mid-range. And he can get to the buck, he can raise up over anybody.
Yeah.
And so, like, that's why it's hard to go against Kevin Durant, because as long as he could be clutch in the playoffs, when the game is on the line, like, to me, that's the question with the Nets. Can Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving get buckets when it's 2 minutes left and you need every single bucket and on every single possession.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. All right,
I
what do you
mean,
guys? Oh, go ahead.
just be clear on this. There's in the last couple years, like let's say in the last 10 years, there's only been what 3 players that were in the 50, 40, 90 club. Kevin Durant is a 7-footer who was in that club. Just let's put that in context too.
Hold on, let me warn the other two guests real
Yeah.
quick. Me and Neil talk a lot. Neil loves Kevin Durant. All right, I think Neil, you can explain it, but I think he loves OKC too.
Used to.
You're not arguing against him with Kevin Durant. Go ahead, Neil.
Used to.
Oh,
I didn't like that Warriors move, so you know. I still know how cold he is, though. Don't get it twisted.
I will hear my question to you guys, and whoever can answer this. Like, all right, what do you think about Kyrie? Like, do you think he's really like the potential like break for that team, or do you just think right now it's a non-factor? Like, Kyrie's nice, KD's nice, it don't matter.
I think, and this is just my personal opinion. I think the media has kind of like pushed a narrative, making him like look like the bad guy, like he's just a walking disaster on any team, and I feel like that's wrong. I think the whole Celtics situation, like there were both sides to the situation that caused whatever result happened, and of course, like the media just made it all on Kyrie. So it's like, okay, now it's just like, okay, he's with the Nets now. It's already being like already talked about that, like it's just gonna be a disaster waiting to happen, just because of how Kyrie responds to the media and all that stuff. And it's only because of media. It's not like, oh, it's his game that is gonna be like, you know, Kyrie can help a team win as long as he's like the second guy on that team as far as like leadership. Which, like, as far as with the Nets, it's becoming similar to how it was in Cleveland. Like, you had LeBron 1 and Kyrie number 2, or 1A, 1B. You got KD number 1, Kyrie number 2, 1A, 1B. So I think they'll be fine. You know, as long as, you know, they don't let the media get to them, I think they'll be straight, win or lose.
All right, guys. Well, based on the time, I just wanted to get like we're gonna definitely hop into this more on the next episode. But based on the time, I want to get from Jerod real quick, just like for 20 seconds, like based on what's happened so far on the Christmas Day games, even those early, like what team stuck out to you, or what thing was glaring that you noticed from a team that you expect to see the rest of the season?
I think that seeing the Nets do what they did to the Celtics really stuck out to me the most. I expected the Lakers to beat the Mavs. I didn't expect I expected a closer game between the Clippers and the Nuggets, but I did not think that the Nets would beat the Celtics by 30.
Yeah.
Like, I think that says a lot right there, and just in terms of matchup.
Okay. And Neil, 15, 20 seconds. Well, what stuck out to you? Was it the Nets game? Like, which game stuck out to you? You're like, yeah, this is gonna be telling for the season.
Yeah, I would say it's the Nets game too. But again, I don't really take too much stock into these early games either. So we'll see in like January, February more of what they really are.
Well, y'all heard it here. We talked a lot about Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. They were pretty impressive. They were dropping buckets. It was wild. If you didn't catch that game, you can always watch it on YouTube, the highlights. But it's going to be a long season, an interesting season. So we plan to cover all that stuff. But stay tuned. We have part 2. We're going to really go in a lot of things. These guys are going to say their predictions. They're going to say who they think is MVP and this, that, and the third. We're going to really go into a lot of topics. The NBA season seems really interesting. We're going to make it interesting too. So stay tuned for part 2 of Hezzy Pullup Basketball when we return.